Hi guys, I'm EVM and welcome back to the channel. This is the Jaguar I-Pace and we're going to have a look at this not just as an electric car, because let's face it, cars get a good review just because they're electric or just because it's the first electric car from a manufacturer. That's the first one from Jaguar, but I'd rather look at this as, is it a good car rather than is it a good electric car? So that's what we're going to find out. Right, we'll have a quick look around the outside and then we'll jump in and see how good this car is. Now, I don't normally talk about the looks too much because if you like the looks of it, it doesn't really matter what I say. The bonnet scoop there is actually functional. It starts here and goes all the way up for aerodynamic purposes. So it's not just a stupid bonnet scoop, which would be pointless on an EV, of course. So it does actually have a purpose, if you're wondering. For me, on this car, these tyres are far too high profile and spoil the looks completely. So if you're going to buy one, spec something else. Usual SUV approach, but with a slight twist on this one, which makes it look better for me, because I'm not a fan of SUVs. Much more squat and sporty looking, and that's a good thing. The handles here are flush, but as soon as you unlock the car, there we go, it does that, and then goes flush again once you're finished. Let's look around the back now. Very kind of angular rear and definitely a family Jaguar look. I don't know, it looks better in the flesh than it probably does on camera now, but it's a bit Marmite-y. You'll either love it or you'll hate it. I'm probably more on the hatey side than the love side, but that's not to say it's ugly, it's just different. Maybe it's one of those that you'll get used to. It's kind of like an ugly person. After a while you just won't notice. Now let's have a look at the size of the boot. Unfortunately I've got no Harrys on this particular video to see how big they are. So I would reckon that's definitely about 1.5 Simons in this one. Right then, let's have a look around the inside of this. Steering wheel, nice and chunky, typical Jag, and really nice feel to it. Buttons, nice to press, but black gloss, full of fingerprints, and we'll come to that in a bit as well. If you turn the car on, you get the usual bongs, and it's a very, very nice HD display. Right, let's go and have a look at this very, very shiny black gloss, and I hate it. Why do manufacturers do this? Everyone, my Leaf, the e-tron, the I-Pace, they all got this black gloss, and you can see the dust. This has recently been cleaned and valeted before we picked it up, and it's already full of fingerprints and dust. The touchscreen itself, very responsive, pretty quick. I would say it's one of the better ones I've used, although none of them are bad, basically. No. But yeah, the fingerprints, and you can see the reflection there. This is from where I'm sitting in the driver's seat. If I go like that, and it depends on where the sun is, but you do end up seeing a lot of reflections from that. But it's not as bad as this one here, which is where you control climate control, seats, various other options basically. It's very good to use, but I'm having to move the camera because if I do it from where I'm sat, you can't really see it properly. And you get that in the real world, it's not just on camera. To change all the stuff, you basically either push, pull for your seats, and of course just twiddle it around. So it's very easy to use once you get used to it, but ultimately you can't really see it because of the reflection of the sun. This should be covered in somewhere. Now this bit here, very nice touch, really solid, basically metal, but again I'm not sure how much you can see on camera. It's just a haven for fingerprints, marks, grease basically. If you've got a
stainless steel
cooker hood, that's basically what that is. Perfect. Down here it's almost like they've designed this to fit an iPhone. I mean literally inch perfect, as it were. Lots of controls, actual buttons, which is nice to see. I won't bother going through every single one, but basically you can change the ride height in this one, which is quite cool, but you'll probably never realistically use it. The materials used, again, what you'd expect from a car of this value. It is a luxury car. Very low amount of scratchiness, which is good, which is what I like and what everyone loves me to test. Soft touch plastics, I suppose. Can you fit gloves in the glove box? Not a massive one, is it?
Not really, no.
It does. It does its job, but it's.
But it does have an elastic band.
Why? Okay, I'm not sure. All right. This particular car has the panoramic roof. which is very nice, but we have kind of spotted a bit of a flaw if you wanted to spec it. And that's if you sit in the driver's seat and look up, you don't see it unless you literally turn your head backwards and then you can have a look. So it's only really there
For the back seat.
Moving back, you've got this, which is probably the worst bit of the car. I'll have to open that. Storage there, obviously USB slots, and that goes all the way down. It's very deep, but this thing here is the cheapest bit of whatever it is, plastic, I guess. And I don't know what it's there for really. I'd rather just have the cup holders underneath, rather than. I mean, listen to this. It's a bin lid, basically, isn't it?
It is.
It's a bin lid. So if you're buying it at high pace, get that and throw it away. Ooh, massive amount of storage space there once the camera's focused on it. Right, well, let's jump in the back and see how much room there is in there if you've got kids. Right, well, that seat is in position for, I would say, someone who's about 6 foot tall. I'm not a tall person, of course, but I have plenty of room myself. How about yourself?
I feel it's quite restrictive, to be honest. This seat is a bit further back than the driver's seat.
Right, so that's for maybe like a 6'3" sort of person. So you could push it further forward, depending,
Yeah.
of course, who's sat there.
It could be. My biggest thing, and I don't have big feet by any means, but there isn't a lot of room under the chair.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You can't.
Side to side or up and down. Now, my feet...
I can't put my foot any further forwards, which
No.
means I have to keep it here. So
Yeah,
I can't stretch
just so
out.
I can move.
Now, I have to say, the panoramic roof we've just told you not to buy.
Looks amazing.
It looks amazing from the back seat. So I guess it's whether or not you care about what your backseat passengers are seeing, I suppose. I'm not the tallest person in the world, so I'm all right, but there's not a lot of space there. So I suppose this is it's a family car, but it's not a large family car.
No.
No. Every time I get out, my foot catches that and rips my shoes apart. And it's such a wide lip is this, and it curves up at the back. My legs are basically splayed out to the point where, as if I was a famous female celebrity, paparazzi would be swarming around this area right now.
With your miniskirt?
With my miniskirt, yes. And I'm having to pull myself out of it. So it's definitely not a car, or rather a rear of a car for the older person or the young ladies. Now, one thing my able assistant is going to show you now is how Jaguar expect you to get under the bonnet, frunk thingy. It opens with a key, which is good, but then watch this. You have to stick your hand in to find the bonnet latch on your very dirty car in winter, and then get to your charging cables. Decent space down there, actually. But let's do that again with your ring. Don't make a joke. So same procedure, but you've got a big ring on your finger, thank you. Open it up. Your ring stops it, and that's fully open as well.
And
so
it's very heavy.
It's very heavy. So what's going to happen is you're either going to scratch the car with the ring, which we haven't, by the way, Mr. E-Vision.
No.
Or it's just going to mean you're going to have to take your ring off to get the frunk bonnet thing, whatever you want to call it, open. I'm having to use all my strength in this hand. There we go, just to get it open. And look, it's that heavy, it doesn't actually go all the way. So I'm not sure if this is going to suit the usual Audi old man market.
Or even a Jaguar, because that's what it is.
That's what I meant to say. Now, the Jag does have a party piece, doesn't it?
Somewhat. Yes. Right in the plums. Lovely.
That's the party piece. You can really get somebody in the plums if you time it just so. This is almost Tesla quick.
Almost?
Almost, yeah. The quicker Teslas, anyway, definitely have a little bit on this, but it's definitely throw you in your seat sort of acceleration.
Oh, it does.
4.7 seconds to 60. This has got an 84.7 usable battery capacity and about 235 miles of real world range. So it's not exactly an efficient car in terms of the battery size. Again, the e-Nero, Konas, that sort of thing, get further by about 20 miles on a 64 kilowatt hour battery. So is that because of the size of this thing, or the amount of weight the luxury interior adds, or is it just inefficient Jaguar engineering. These seats for me hug me perfectly.
Yeah, slightly pinching, but I'm a slightly larger frame than you. But that is what it is. It'd be nice for a bit of adjustment.
So yeah, there's a few little things in there, and when you're spending 30 odd grand on a e-Nero, you forgive it because it's a 30 odd grand car, which is still expensive, but you can forget little things, and these are little things. But once you get to this 60, 70,000 pounds and upwards, you want all these little niggles kind of sorting out, really, don't you?
Down. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like going to a hotel. You go to a 2-star, you can forgive things, but if you go into a 5-star, you expect a certain level of service.
Yeah.
And this, for the most part, does deliver on that, doesn't it? It's just a few little annoyances, and that is it. It's a few little annoyances. If I look at this screen, it's really good to use. It's brilliant. It's high res.
It's very easy to use.
But the left third of that screen is just a reflection of your window.
Yep. And the right hand third from my side, all I can see is the back of the stalk, back of the steering wheel, and your hands and arms when you're on the.
Yeah. So it's like, look, it's a car of mirrors. This thing down here, when it's very sunny, is very difficult to see because it just bounces back and you can just see the sky, and you kind of have to do this when you're driving to see what you're about to change.
Absolutely.
This isn't my car, and I'm already cleaning it.
Yeah.
Because it's a dust magnet, isn't it?
I think just the day-to-day usage. I don't know about you, but I spend a lot of time in my car.
Yep.
I drink, I eat. You get sticky fingers. You have to use the controls.
I'm sorry.
But you'll have a pattern.
Yeah.
On the screen, you will have a pattern of most used areas.
Yeah.
On the buttons, most used areas. And I think once that gets a sort of bit of ingrained on there,
It's not coming off.
yeah, you'll be constantly out with
It's a stainless steel
with glass cleaner.
kitchen surface, isn't it?
Yes.
You'll never get it back to perfect.
5 grand.
Gate! You put the heated seat on, haven't you?
Sweaty bum.
How do you do it off? So the range isn't what you'd expect, but maybe they're not aiming for range. Maybe they just want comfort, luxury, quietness.
Which it's got.
Are we missing the point here, or?
But it's an EV. It's going to be quiet.
Yeah.
The Renault Zoe is quiet.
Yeah. So this needs. What has this got? I suppose that's what we're asking. So what has this got that a Kia e-Nero, a Hyundai Kona, Tesla Model 3 doesn't have?
Refinement on the dashboard, maybe.
A better
Or
interior.
the quality
It's
of
all
the interior.
Yeah, it's all the interior, isn't it? Yeah.
It is all the interior. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a fantastic interior. It's very, very nice.
Yep.
But if I was buying a petrol engine Jaguar, I would expect the same interior.
So ultimately, if you want a full electric car with a really nice interior,
This is your car.
this is a car.
But is the interior worth that £35,000-45,000 that you're realistically paying for it?
As a Yorkshireman, no,
No,
not for me.
not for me either. And I think when you can get a car that you could be more forgiving on the quality side of things, however, have a similar performance and range and things like that. My standard for an EV, I just think Tesla all along, because they're a benchmark, they're a starting place where I think everybody should look to as a comparison. Now, whether they do or they don't, I don't know. Everybody's coming out with their own now.
Does this compare to a Tesla Model S, the bigger one? I would say that the interior blows the Tesla away because they've always been weak interiors. But in terms of what the Tesla Model 3 performance version, which is about the same price as this, I would go for that every day of the week because it's got the unique selling point of the supercharger network and, of course, autopilot. This is a far nicer interior. If you take the interior out of this and put it in a Model 3, I think you've got the perfect car there.
Nearly, if you took this away.
Well, yeah, all right.
You've got your cooker hood scenario, you've got your glass screens, you've got your gaps for dust and things to sit in. Who assesses this before it goes, right, let's go? Or is 99% of this done on a nice drawing board with a load of felt pens and bits of chalk, and doesn't it look fantastic and swish, and you know, there's nice highlights on it and things like that, and it's the sales brochure image.
Maybe they don't see it as their typical buyer, so they're not bothered. Right, well, that's pretty much it. Like the car, but I won't buy one myself.
No.
But ultimately, I think you'll enjoy driving it more than owning it.
Yes.
So, yeah, right. Thank you for watching as usual, guys, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you very much. Bye.